The Global Space Law Center is a project that I've been developing for years now. I've been working in the field of outer space activity really I wrote my first piece in 2001, and it's finally time to launch a center for the benefit of our students and to create some work product to influence the formation of new space law.
Why Cleveland? Why would Cleveland be the spot for a space law center?
Well, really, in the day and age that we live, in this virtual day and age, it could be anywhere. Good space lawyers could be trained at any law school with the proper program, but this program is particularly well suited to Cleveland because of our history in aviation, to begin with, the Wright brothers, and space in particular, with our NASA Glenn Research Center here, as well as a number of very large and very small and medium-sized companies that create components and systems for spacecraft. We're one of the largest, if not the largest supplier to Boeing, for example.
I think when people think of space, they probably first think maybe of exploration, probably of science, not really about law, but there are many aspects of space which do affect a legal system or hopefully a legal structure that we have. One of those is economics. And I wonder if you can talk more about mining of asteroids, mining of celestial bodies in some way. How would law affect that idea?
Yes, we went straight to one of the hottest topics in space law right now, and one in which I'm intimately involved as a member of the Hague Working Group on the governance of space resources. And yes, there are two companies, two very well-funded companies, Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries, and these are backed by the Hollywood producer James Cameron, Larry Page of Google, other heavy hitters, very well-funded, very serious people, and they're planning on harvesting natural resources from the moon, beginning with water, which can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen for breathing and for fuel, but also mining potentially for precious metals such as platinum. And the technology is well under development, but it's very critical that we get the legal infrastructure and clarity in place to ensure investors that they will be able to keep the platinum that they mine. And that has not been clear under international law. The United States has passed a law recently, and now the little city-state of Luxembourg has passed a law assuring investors that they will be able to keep the resources that are mined.
A name many people probably recognize is Elon Musk, because he has kind of been a face of the privatization of space in many ways, reusable rockets. He just talked about wanting to go to Mars and send a colony of people in a rocket to Mars. How does space law affect what Elon Musk is trying to do?
Well, I just returned from Australia where I saw Elon give his most recent presentation and his revised vision for creating a colony on Mars. He's designing a rocket to carry 100 people at a time to Mars, but also to the moon, and also within half an hour span of time, any place on the surface of the Earth. And so he has big plans for this rocket. It affects the space industry in a totally transformative way, because by reusing rockets, he is reducing the cost to orbit by a factor of 5 to 10 and making it much cheaper, which means that business models that were not sustainable 10 years ago are now sustainable and affordable because these companies can get into space, whereas they were blocked from it before.
I just wonder, to go back to the Space Law Center,
yes.
When your students go through the center, what are their prospects in the job market? Where do they go from CSU and beyond?
Right. Well, let me talk about the nature of the center first. We're going to be offering a global asynchronous online course, not only to our students, but any student around the world. And this is really not only about space law, but the future of legal education, to have thought leaders teaching students all over the world rather than students going to individual teachers in class. After they go through this online course, there'll be an opportunity to participate in the Research Council, where we'll be creating this work product to influence legislation. They'll be able to participate in internships with space companies. And then the number of jobs available, there are a plethora in telecommunications, all the companies that we're long familiar with remote sensing, such as Google Earth, with the space launch companies such as SpaceX, with satellite manufacturing companies. It goes on and on again. It's a $300 billion industry, and it's also possible to go to work for any of the multiplicity of government agencies, such as the Department of Commerce, the Department of State, Department of Defense, that are involved with regulating space activity.